Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit for the Superbikes and Clubman programme. Duncan Vincent and joined in the box by Dennis Hobbs. We're going to be having the fastest bikes on track today. Lovely conditions, but first of all let's hand down to Dennis and Joe on track.
We're just after the first corner now, and we're going to get a fine example from this pace car coming around the circuit. This is Leslie's, again a really quick corner in a car, which I know, but Dennis on a bike. Any different? Just as quick?
Yeah, no, it's a very fast part of the circuit. Once you've committed to your braking at the top of, say, curve there, you're down into fourth gear, get the bike to the apex, middle of the circuit as you start to come down, you're driving on the throttle pretty hard as you get towards Leslie's, bring the bike in nice and tight to the white line at the bottom, and you're probably out 2 metres from the white line as you then look and approach down towards Scotsman Corner. As we go down towards Scotsman Corner, you're on the brakes, you're instantly into third gear, so the engine braking is working on the bike, and this is kind of where the fun starts on the race circuit. You know, it's a big smile on your face from here right the way through to Clark's at the back part of the circuit. You're third gear all the way through, you can hold one gear on the bike using the torque of the engine and just keeping your momentum going as best as you can, and it is a really good special feel. Once you get all the corners linked together right, you know you've got a nice perfect lap nailed together.
That's what you've got to do here. You've got to think about what's coming when you're at the top of the hill, because this is one big section as well, and it's funny that this is the only real left in the whole circuit, so I'm going to pretend I know what I'm talking about for a second, but obviously we're going right basically the whole lap. It's almost an oval if you think about it in that sense, that you're always turning right. Loads of temperature in that side of the tyre on a bike, doesn't matter in a car, but on a bike it does, and then all of a sudden you've got this one here and you throw the bike onto the left hand side. I'm guessing that can be a problem.
It can be a problem if you've got a bit of a cool tyre or a few laps into things, if things haven't heated up, or a pace car's being out kind of slow things down, but you never really use the full left hand side of the tyre either. You know, normally if you look at a tyre, you even wear right the way, all the way over to the right, all the way over to the left. As you're coming through the left here, you're only probably using about 3/4 of the tyre as you actually come through the corner before you're then getting back on the brakes as you head in towards Scotsman, and Scotsman is another corner again. If you get the entrance,
let's have a wander down towards it as we go, because it's a funny corner this. It's downhill. You don't really realise when you're driving around here, but when you're walking, you see how far downhill we go, and it's a standard 90 right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously remembering how much of a track you've actually dropped as you come through Seat Curve into Leslie's, you know, the track drops away an awful lot. But as you come in towards this section of the track, it's running away all the way down through Butchers up towards the chicane, but it isn't a normal 90 right-hander. But it's important to get into this one nice and tight as well, right to the white line on the inside. You don't want to be coming into this late. If you leave the door open, especially in a race situation, somebody's going to be up the inside. It only needs to be half a foot. If there's enough of a space, there's going to be a bike up the inside of you. So it's important you get tight to the white line. You might even see a few bikes in the racing actually skimming a little bit of the curb. That's not an ideal thing to do because it can make the bike upset.
Well, that's what I was getting to. The curbs here at Knockhill, in the past we just had a flat curb, and in a car, which I'm used to, we can use every inch of it, but on a bike I'm guessing this is the original flat part of the curb that you could probably use, I would suggest, on a bike.
You're only going to probably use a few inches of it just on the exit. You're never going to use as much as this. You know, if you're using as much as this, you've got every chance of folding the front and going down the road. You know, it's going to upset the bike, it's going to lose traction. You've not got as much grip on the curb as you've got on the actual tarmac itself. The only place you actually do use the curbs on a circuit like Knockhill as well, and probably many other circuits, on the exit. So as you come out of here, out of Scotsman, leaning down towards Butchers, you're hard on the throttle.
You can open it out, you can make the corner not as tight as it needs to be by using all that room, and obviously using that painted strip there on the exit of the road.
Yeah, well, for us, in the car, an extra 2 foot of tarmac on the outside almost, so you're hard on the throttle, and that just makes the corner that little bit wider. You can get on the throttle earlier, and then when you're going towards Butchers as well, your line is kind of different if you're just using the normal tarmac.
For us greedy car racers, we take more than we're allowed to, and that's why they added this extra sausage curb, we call it. In a car, we don't really want to use them. It doesn't cause us a disaster, but it slows you down. But on a bike, I guess that's an absolute no-go for you guys.
Yeah, we won't want to be hitting anything near
knee
that.
Catching it, maybe?
No, you kind of, to be fair, ideally, you know, your wheels are on the white line going through, your knee and everything else is just on the curb as you're going through it. It might be covering over the top of it, but you don't want to be anywhere near it, especially with engine casings and things like that. And the one you probably get most closest to, or feels like you do, is as you're actually coming out with Clark's, where it comes into you. But down here at Scotsman Corner, this curb, the red painted curb that you use in the car there, no issues whatsoever.
Fairly important corner for a quick lap as well, when you consider if you turn around and have a look down the hill, what follows is quite a long, fast section before you slow it down for the chicane, so you do have to carry some good speed out here, so fairly important corner for the lap, I would suggest.
Yeah, like you say, all important, get your braking right, down the gears into third, get the engine braking so you get yourself right to the apex. Then you can drive nice and hard on the throttle right the way down towards Butchers, and you're just keeping in one gear all the way through, so just keeping the momentum going. You know, you don't want to be up and down the gears because that's losing your time. And most boys, no matter what they're in, super sport, super stock, 600,
or girls,
yeah, all girls, 1000, Superbikes, whatever it is, they all try and gear it roughly about the same, so you're holding third gear all the way through this section, right the way up towards Clark's at the back, and it's all about getting the gearing right with a bike and carrying that momentum through the corners.
So here we go, bikes are leaving the holding area, and this is going to be a cracking race, you are guaranteed that. On pole position is number 53, Joe Burns from Taco Patterson, and Bruce Burney with Roy Houston, Donald McFadden and Mike Keith on the second of the grid. Campbell, Lang and Ross with Bryce, McDonald and Blacklock on the 600. Adam Blacklock 12th place on the 600, Dennis.
Yeah, we've got a wide mix of people in this one. Jim Lang there, our Superbike Clubman champion from last year, has moved up to the Superbike class, so we're interested to see how he's going to get on. We've got quite a few new riders. Andy Lamond and Scott Robertson there, 16th and 17th. I've been helping those guys out, and they're doing a great job getting into the racing again.
So here we go, the Knockhill Superbikes, Knockhill Motor Sports Club Superbikes and Clubmans, and we've got 30 bikes on the grid. It's a huge grid. Some of the quickest riders in Britain are here, and we've also got some complete newbies as well. Yeah,
25th on the grid there, Richard Hughes. We expect him to make big progress through the field because he was one of the front end running Clubman guys from last year. Obviously just had a bit of a bad qualifying, but it's good to see Joe Burns. He's using this as a test, ready for the British Superbikes, like you say, between the 14th and 16th of June, and he's on the John Guest Speed Fit bike out there.
Yeah, front row Joe lines up on his lucky number 53 John Guest Speed Fit Kawasaki, and here we go, we're going to get some pretty quick racing from this young man. It's very close for Joe. He's just down the road in Newcastle, and it could almost be second home. He comes up here quite a lot, so he's a quick man as Taco Patterson comes to the grid fashionably late there.
It's great to see all those orange vests as well, you know, all these new guys coming into the race, and especially the Superbike Clubman class, and it's great to see a full grid of bikes out there, and no doubt it's going to be fantastic racing.
So a few of our novice riders struggling to get the right grid position, as the guys at the front are primed and ready to go. We've got to keep our eyes out for 84 Darren Ross as well, a man from Aberdeen who has just started racing, another man who's come from track days like number 7 Jim Lang has. But we're looking at Brian Campbell on the Kawasaki, moved from Honda to Kawasaki this year in his white Arlen Nest leathers. But here we go, you can see just how windy it is today at Knockhill. Beautiful sunshine, but a big breeze in the air. Thankfully these big bikes shouldn't be affected as much as the little bikes, so we get a big green flag from the back. We're about to go racing for Superbike race number 1, and here we go, all eyes will be on the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge. The red lights are on, and it's a very quick turnaround, and away we go down towards St Curves for the first time of asking. Everybody making a cracking start, and it's Patterson who has the whole shot, and he leads from Joe Burns, underneath Burns at the apex of the corner, and he leads as they go down through St Curves onto Leslie's and in towards Scotsman. Everybody else making it through, but a great start by Taco Patterson on the Suzuki, the YPE powered Suzuki. But right behind him we've got Joe Burns in, Roy Houston in 4th behind Bruce Burney.
Yeah, Bruce Burney, it's the first time he's been out on the bike this year, Duncan. He's not rode it since last year, and he's straight back out there and doing a great job getting the swing things. Let's look at that, Roy Houston up the inside there. Another guy to keep an eye on is Alan Bryce. He's one of the fastest clubmans out there in the 2005 Suzuki 1000, so doing a good job on what is respectively an old bike.
Yeah, Burnsy hits the front, Joe gets to the front. There's a bit of a wiggle on the brakes here, but controls the John Guest Speed Fit Kawasaki very well through the hairpin. Burney having almost a slight altercation with his old sparring partner Donald McFadden, but up the main straight, Burns, Patterson, Houston leads the way from there. Burney and McFadden, and then who's that next along? That's Mike Keith, Mike the bike, sorry, on the number 78 Kawasaki, as these guys all plummet down through Leslie's. And look at Burney, he's looking up there to Roy Houston, and he makes it. Now if that's the first time Bruce Burney's been on this bike, Dennis, that must feel like an absolute rocket ship.
Yeah, it will do, probably for the first few sessions, even into the first few races done, it's going to feel like a missile, but he's just getting back into the swing of things. It's good to see Donald McFadden there. He's looking fiery and more racing we've seen in the last few years, and I say Donald not the youngest guys out there, but definitely competitive and wants to be out there winning races.
In his 23rd year of racing now, Donald McFadden, and he'll happily tell anybody that, an experienced man. And here he comes up the inside of Roy Houston on the number 55 BMW, and he's got Houston. Good move. Houston tries to look under him, but there was never really a space there, Roy.
How smooth and easy did it look as well? They had no movement at all from the bike. It just looked nice and controlled and planted. So he's got the bike set up. He's got that BMW working well for him out there at the moment.
In towards the curves, Taco Parson backs the Kawasaki in a little bit there, but Joe Burns has left. Joe Burns has checked out on that Kawasaki. Joe, one of our British Championship front runners, you could say. Dennis, he is possibly a championship man in the National Metzler Superstock Championship this year.
Yeah, doing a good job, Joe. He only did a few races in the British Championship last year, and he's managed to put a deal together, and it's great to see him out there doing a great job. And the speed he's going at, he's around there in the low 51s already, Duncan, and he's obviously going to be trying to get into the 50s, because that's what it's going to be for the British Championship when they come up here, which is a pretty rapid pace. But look at that, Bruce Burney looking on the outside of Torkel Patterson, and Donald McFadden also looking up the inside.
McFadden's going to take both of them on the brakes. Good move from Donald McFadden. He gets not one but two on the brakes, and Roy Houston, the little terrier in the background, ever hovering to try and get another space, but doesn't get any openings. But look at Donald McFadden, who's given him a bit of a shot in the arm this morning, as Burney's not going to take that line down as they come back up the inside into straight curves. Burney takes the second position back from Donald McFadden, and McFadden, has he got anything in reserve? Can he come back at Burney straight away?
Yeah, Bruce was tight on the inside there at the top of straight curve, so he was wide as he went through Leslie's, but managed to hold the line and keep it nice and comfortable as he went through Scotsman corner as we follow these guys through. What you can probably say about Joe Burns, the BMW's there, and also Roy Houston, these bikes all fitted with a standard traction control system, whereas Torkel Patterson hasn't got one on the Suzuki, but that Suzuki has got masses of power, probably almost too much power, which will make it hard to ride.
Yeah, big Stuart Young from YP Suzuki, YP Power. He has got almost 190 brake horsepower out of that Suzuki this year, and Torkel's traction is all in the right hand, so fair play to Torkel Patterson as we watch him wheelie the big Suzuki and try to hang off the side of it and make a straight line of it. But Kawasaki leads the race from BMW, Suzuki, and then the Kirkcaldy Kawasaki of Houston, the black bike number 36 here just behind Torkel Patterson.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back, and we're joining the Superbikes again once more. Still leading the way, we've got Joe Burns at the sharp end of this one. Bruce Burney still in second place, but being chased hard by Donald McFadden, Torkel Patterson, and then Roy Houston. These guys probably quarter of a second between them, Duncan, like a bit of a freight train going round at the moment. And behind these guys we've got Mike Keith, and then we've got Grant Campbell, and they're both together on the Kawasaki's.
Yeah, absolutely, those guys are not far off the back, and Kawasaki seems to be the buzzword this year in the super stocks in Britain and in Superbikes in Scotland. The Kawasaki is such a good bike straight out of the crate. And Joe Burns, who, unfortunately, Joe, we're not seeing you on television right now. You are gone. You're up the road on that John Guest Speed Fit bike. But in second place, it is Bruce Burney in the Carnegie Fuels BMW. Then we've got Donald McFadden. I'll let you start to run off the sponsors that Donald has, because it takes me too long, Dennis, and you've done it many a time.
Yeah, AJG Parcels, Jack Self Drive, Capital Fire, and Security Alarms, and the list goes on, you know. And he's obviously got a fair amount of guys. We see Alan Bryce there and Jim Lang.
Just behind Brian Campbell there, who we're looking at, was Alan Bryce and Jim Lang, and we both pointed towards the television screen because Jim Lang, last year in his Kawasaki, Dennis, possibly the most impressive man I've seen in Scotland in a number of years.
Yeah, Jim Lang, what can you say about the guy? He was extremely rapid, but he seems to be struggling at the moment with the BMW. He's not putting in the lap times he was on the Kawasaki. It's a brand new bike. Look, Grant Campbell goes up the inside of Mike Keith.
Brian goes up the inside of Mike Keith there, and he will be happy with that one. Good move there as he comes out with Clark there, and Mike Keith, Mike the bike, tries to go back round the outside of them as he heads towards the hairpin. And is Mike going to get it? No, because Brian's pretty strong on the brakes. The number 69 Kawasaki, Mum Stella, will be happy with that one.
In the background there, Jim Lang was looking up the inside of Alan Bryce, and I think Jim Lang is desperate to beat Alan Bryce. He doesn't want to be beaten by a clubman. He was a clubman champion last year. He's up in the Superbikes, and Jim Lang wants to be mixing it with the likes of Bruce Burney, Donald McFadden.
Oh, Andy Bailey stops on the way in towards the hairpin there. Sorry, Andrew Murray. Sorry, I'll get that right. Andrew Murray stops on the way towards the hairpin, and he stopped in. It's obviously a mechanical issue because we saw him right to a halt. But that Suzuki has expired, unfortunately, as we are still watching Brian Campbell and Mike Keith on their Kawasaki's coming through the John O'Way chicane.
And the Norman Brunton spray job on his helmet there stands out an absolute treat, doesn't it? The green and the orange there stands out awesome.
He's done a good job on it, has Norman, and Brian was absolutely delighted, posting pictures all over Twitter and Facebook. But Lang is now ahead of Bryce. So Lang is ahead as Joe Burns just flashes through. We finally get a chance to see Joe with a couple of tail enders about to get done now. Bernie's up the inside of McFadden. That was a huge lunge by Bruce here, and I'm thinking he might have made a little mistake on the brakes that I just didn't see because they come from such a long way back. But now Donald is in amongst the back markers and he is getting held up, and here comes Bernie. Bernie's going to go round the outside of him. They're almost near abreast as they go through the Johnny Way chicane. We both sit back and take a breath then, because that was never going to work.
I thought Donald was almost being a gentleman there and letting him go through, but then he decided to open it up and pass the guy around the outside of Butch's in towards the chicane. But Donald's obviously got in front of Bruce Burney, and it looks like Burney's going to be having a hard task now in trying to chase him down.
Yeah, Jim Lang has caught right up with Mike Keith as well as head towards the hairpin, but Roy Houston now comes underneath our tail enders at the hairpin there, and Andrew Murray just getting moved away now. Did Roy go under? Oh, it doesn't matter. Roy Houston accelerates out off the hairpin up towards the start finish line, and you can see all the cars on the hillside basking in this glorious Knockhill sunshine, and Houston is a man on a mission. He's setting quite good lap times as we look at the computer, Dennis, but look at Jim Lang coming through. Jim Lang is just off the back of Mike Keith now. He's obviously listened to what you've been saying, and he's got a bit of a wriggle on now as he's seen Kawasaki's ahead of him.
Yeah, Jim Lang's a man on a mission.
Brian Campbell comes into contact with one of the back markers. He nudges him wide at the exit of Scotsman Corner. Now, was that Kerr? Was that?
Well, I think that was Jim Kerr, but the next guy up is going to be 71 Lee Brooks, and then you've got Mark Herbertson and Maurice Ray. All these guys are together, and they're in their own battle outright on the circuit, but they've got the faster guys now. And you can see you've got Grant Campbell there, Jim Lang all over the back of him, and obviously they gained up right up towards the back of Mike Keith as well.
Gotta say, Brian Campbell extremely lucky there as Mike Keith comes through, and underneath her Jim Lang's got Brian Campbell as well. So Campbell a little bit rattled after that collision with the back marker at Scotsman Corner.
I'm happy to see Jim Lang now starting to get a wriggle on as we come on to the last lap, and can Jim Lang, is there enough time for him to get in front of that old boy there, Mike Keith?
Well, if this is the last lap, we're going to follow round these two guys, but also we will see a little bit of Joe Burns as he comes out with the hairpin on his John Guest Speedfit Kawasaki. But look at Bernie looking menacing as they come up towards Clark Corner. Bruce has been round long enough, he's not going to have an attack there because Donald would then possibly counter-attack at the hairpin. But round towards the hairpin, Bernie looks like he's lining him up. But out of the hairpin comes that man. It's Joe Burns from Newcastle. He wins the first Superbike race, and in the distance we try and see the battle for second place. But we get a chance to see Kenny Patterson coming through there, and it's actually McFadden who gets second place with a big stand-up wheelie. Third place for the Carnegie Fields BMW, and look at McFadden, absolutely delighted with that one, Dad. That'll feel like a win for Donald.
Yeah, for sure, Donald's going to be over the moon. If Joe Burns wasn't here, that would have been a win.
Well, technically, yes, you're 100% right there. Unfortunately for Donald, Joe Burns rolls into town. So let's give you the run through. Joe Burns on the Kawasaki wins from Donald McFadden and Bruce Burney on BMWs. Taco Patterson on a Suzuki with Roy Houston on a Kawasaki. Mike Keith, Jim Lang and Brian Campbell 6th, 7th and 8th. Let's hand down to Joe Tanner in the pit lane.
And our Superbike winner for the third time this weekend already, Joe Burns. We've seen this before from you. You're a regular in the British Championship. You come up here because you're kind of Newcastle area. It's not too far for you. Come up and do a bit of testing, and you make our boys look silly.
No, it's not too far, so it's pretty ideal. A lot of the guys in British are from a lot further south, so they don't get so much of an opportunity to come and test here. But the Scottish Championships are a perfect place to come to get with testing in time for the British Championship coming here in June. So
I said just as we were walking down here that you make us look daft with the massive lead you have, but you mentioned to me still you want to ideally find around about 6/10 to be on the front running pace of the British Championship when they arrive.
Yeah, about that to get down to sort of lap record pace, but usually I'll come on a race weekend if the conditions are right. I mean, today they're quite windy, but the conditions are right, and the atmosphere in the paddock brings on the pace a little bit more, so hopefully we'll be on for a good one when the British comes.
Well done, it's a pleasure to watch.
Alright, thank you.
Second place, Donald. It should have been a win if Joe wasn't here. You got Bruce with a couple of laps to go. Well done.
Yeah, it'd be nice if I could get away with Joe and then he would drag me on a wee bit. I don't think I would beat him, but I might be a bit closer. But no, I had a good race with Bruce and Torquil and that, so quite often once they pass me I give up, but today I'm not. So.
It's great to see you back racing. You're the guy who always comes back. How many years is it you've been racing here now?
This is my 23rd year at it.
There you go, 23 years and still at the front. Let's see if we can get a win in the next one though, Donald. We need a win.
Well, if Joe pulls in, we might.
Well done. Cheers. And it's the Grizzly Bear himself, Bruce Burney, former champion last year, current champion, current champion. Third place in that one, but when I saw you on Friday when you arrived, you said, I'm not feeling it. You must be feeling it now.
I'm just getting used to my bike. I've not been out on it at all this year. That's pretty much yesterday, and today's the first time I've pulled out of the garage. So just slowly, go fast slowly, and yeah, it was good that I got a good dice there with Donald, you know, and yeah, I think we're going to get a set of new tyres on it for a change and get out of it and just enjoy ourselves.
What can you do to keep up with Joe?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? I don't know. As you say, Joe's top class rider. You know, he's in the British. He's doing really well in the super stock. If he was here and we were beating him, there'd be something wrong, I think. So no, hats off to him. I was speaking to him there. He's getting plenty of track time. So yeah, well, who knows what might happen? We'll see what happens.
Take him on in the last one, Bruce.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Thank you.
Superbike race number 2 is lined up behind me. We have on pole position the number 53 machine of Joe Burns, British Championship regular. He's got some serious pace, and he's basically won everything that he's taken part in this weekend. Alongside him we have regular to Knockhill, Donald McFadden, in his 23rd year of racing. He's an old man, he won't mind me saying that, but he's really quick. I want to speak to Joe if I can. Joe, you got a wee second? I spoke to you after the previous race, which you also won. That's 3 wins so far this weekend. Surely this is going to be a walk in the park for you.
Hopefully. I don't know what the weather's doing. It's raining at the minute, but if it rains, I'm not sure we'll compete unless it's fully wet. But
I didn't even notice that, Joe, to be honest. It is raining now, isn't it? And there's a red flag in previous race, so it looks like you are going to get busy now changing some tyres.
Yeah, probably. If it's a wet race, we enjoy the wet as much as the dry, so hopefully have a good run again.
It's pretty good for you, because if you're here testing, you've had nothing but dry, so maybe this could be a good chance to try your wet setting.
Yeah, it could be. When he's set up for both conditions, and it's an ideal opportunity, really.
Good stuff, good luck. Always good to see you here, going quick.
Alright, thanks a lot.
Yeah, rain coming down, so these guys are all down in the holding bay. You see they've got the tyre warmers on, ready to go out for their race. It'll be a slick tyre or a dry tyre underneath there, but with the rain pouring down, as you can see, the previous race has come in to change tyres. I'm fairly sure we're going to see a last minute dash to wets, which is going to make for an interesting race. I'll hand it to Dennis and Duncan. We'll find out how we're getting on. Scottish Superbikes are lined up behind me for their next race. We had a downpour of rain. Everybody panicked and went for the wet weather tyre, as you can see, with the tyre warmers off, wets all round, except for the man who's won all the races, Joe Burns, on the number 53 machine. He has gone with a dry tyre. He's wandered away from me. He's away to look at the start of the previous race. I'm going to leave him to it. I'll hand this to Dennis and Duncan. We'll see if he's made the right decision.
Thank you very much, Joe Tanner. Yes, a sprinkling of rain comes down just before the start of the Superbike race, and excuse me, Dennis, you can see as Bernie and Darren Ross with Mike Keith leave the pit lane garages. The track is damp in places, but it's almost looking out of our commentary box window. It's too wet for dries and too dry for wets, you know?
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, to be fair, but sticking with the dry tyres probably will be a brave option, and we'll see how the guys get on in a minute.
Joe Burns from Donald McFadden and Torco Patterson, with Bernie, Houston and Campbell. Bailey, Keith and Ross sees Bryce, Lang and McDonald at the front 4 rows of the Superbike grid. So who are you putting your money on this time, Dennis? Are you a betting man?
You know, you've got to say the way things have been going, Joe Burns has been doing a fantastic job at the sharp end, but maybe these conditions might play into the hands of somebody who's going to maybe be a little bit braver than Joe, because he's got the British Championship coming up. So,
oh yeah,
you know, maybe Bruce Burney might give him a bit of fire back. You know, he probably feels he can maybe win now after that previous race.
Well, I'm not a glory hunter, but I like to think he's a mate, so I'm going to go for Joe Burns to win the race. There's my 50 pence. But all the way back to Adam Blacklock, who started the back, because Adam had a disaster in that race, and we see the little 600 right off the back row. Now, can he make it through the grid? Because 600 almost
Joe
perfect.
Burns retired the pit lane.
Well, there you go. There goes my 50 pence over towards Dennis Hobbs, and Joe Burns retires. Now, obviously, Joe has decided that enough is enough, and the track conditions aren't suitable for him. So we get everybody else lined up on the grid.
Good to see a number of guys actually doing well and improving again over last year. You know, like you say, one of the guys, Kenny Patterson, moved to BMW machinery from the Ducati,
yeah.
And on the Car Masters Glasgow bike there, doing a great job getting his lap times down all the time.
And you can see Bruce Burney having a look over the pit wall thinking, brilliant, no Joe, I could get a win here. And that's exactly what Donald McFadden is thinking as well.
Is this going to be a Torco Patterson classic start, you think, off the line in towards the top of Seat Curve?
It's going to be good fun. The red flag at the front. Join us after the break.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keene in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
So welcome back to Knockhill. Joe Burns, who we just saw retire to the pit lanes, decided it's a little bit tricky track conditions for him to do anything silly just now, with the British Championship not far away from him or for him. So we have the Superbikes on the front row of the grid. Just two riders, Donald McFadden and Torko Patterson. Donald McFadden must be the favourite for the win here, but Bruce Burney, who's in shot on the light baby blue BMW, the Carnegie Fuels bike, must also be another front runner. The red flag is gone. All eyes on the Beatson's building supply bridge, and away we go. And Donald McFadden goes upwards instead of forwards, and it's a bad start for Donald McFadden. And look at the fast start in Houston. Roy Houston tries to get up there, but Torko Patterson leads as they all tip very gingerly, Dennis, as you'd say, through the top of St. Curves, and then turn two Les's. Mike Keith gets forced wide by Alan Bryce, who's made a cracking start.
Alan Bryce rides the wheels off that bike, let's be honest, for an old bike he's absolutely trying hardest, but I mean, I'm a bit disappointed in Torko leaving a sticker on his tyre there. I thought he'd have had that ripped off. Obviously a brand new tyre in the front of that bike, but behind them other guys, there's Andy Lamond there on the Realize bike, one of the newcomers heading up towards Clark's in the distance.
Yeah, and you can see just the turning point of Clark's here, a big damp area just where you're putting the bike from upright to leaning in. But Roy Houston looks to have a look up the inside of the bike, tying itself in knots, and he's up the inside of Torx at the hairpin, runs a little bit hot, runs Torko hot. Torko tries to come back underneath, and they were so close to having contact there. We saw contact with Brian Campbell in the first race down at Scotsman. Torko almost rear ends Roy Houston on the Kirkcaldy Kawasaki, but look at Burney up the inside over the dank patch. But it's not to be. Torko Patterson holds onto that one. Damp patch.
Yeah, I think there's a mixture of tyres as well, Duncan. Unfortunately, we can't really see, and we miss what these guys went out on. I think there's a mixture of wets, dries, and also intermediate tyres with these guys. So it's going to be a race that's going to happen towards the end. I think if it dries out, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. These guys look like they look like they're on dry tyres, because surely, Dennis, you wouldn't have plumbed for wet weather tyres. But you can see the damp area at Clark there, and Jim Lang coming in very quickly. Now, have we got rain, Dennis? Because the lap times on the last lap, although it was the early doors, very slow. And who's this? Jim Lang goes round the outside of Donald McFadden in towards the hairpin.
We could just see him at the back of the shot. Jim Lang is incoming. He didn't get the best of starts either. He's passed Mike Keefe and a few of the other guys on that last lap alone.
Those guys, you can see there, they're dry tyres. Houston, Patterson and Burney are on as McFadden up the main straight, and here comes the rain. It's starting to spit through with some mental rain, as Dennis Hobbs says. You can see it in the air there as Patterson hits the front, and Houston's a little bit cautious, and Burney goes underneath him also as they go through St. Curves and Leslie's, listening for anything happening in the background out of shot. But McFadden has Jim Lang all over him like a rash, and Jim Lang is really looking racing. It's a wonder what tyres Jim's gone and pulled for.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I was nervous for Bruce Burney on that Carnegie Fuels bike heading towards the top of St. Curve. I just don't like that line nice and tight to the inside, so easy to go wide and make a mistake.
Oh, somebody's down, sorry, difficult to see, ugly number 71.
That was Lee Brooks, yeah.
Lee Brooks,
71.
Yeah, 71. The bike slid across the track at the bottom there, and he has managed to get himself up as Burney hits the front, and Jim Lang goes up into fourth place. Jim Lang gets Donald McFadden, and he was very late coming in there, and 100% committed, as we've got yellow flag on the main straight there as the guys go over the crest of the hill past the fan clubs. You can see the rain is definitely in the air now as they come in through St. Curves. Oh, somebody's down at the hairpin now, Dan.
Yeah, one of the guys
Michael Robertson there. Michael Robertson trudges away from that one as the marshal's moving Brooks' bike from first corner.
You can still see, Duncan, the track is pretty much dry. There's rain in the air, but obviously it's all going to be dependent on the tyres that these guys have got on, but the track is definitely dry in places. But Jim Lang is a man for me. I've never seen Jim Lang this fired up. Obviously our clubman champion, but he's looking racy. We said he was struggling to find the speed on the bike, but he's definitely going. He's got the fastest lap at the moment, and he's all over the back of Roy Houston.
He is. This is the man who only started racing last year. Look at him come through his slops, and he's going round the outside of Roy Houston. The smile will be enormous on Jim Lang's face as a few guys return to the pit lane. Sunshine at the hairpin, and he's just passed Torko Patterson at the hairpin. Little movement from the back of that BMW as he accelerates up the main straight. Burnley, Houston and Lang.
Yeah, nice clean move by Jim Lang there up the inside of Torko Patterson, nice and smooth on the brakes. So the next man on his target is Roy Houston and then Bruce Burney.
So careful on the brakes for these guys, but look at Lang, he goes round the outside, gets on the gas hard, down through St Curves and passes at Leslie, and he is away. I've got a feeling that Jim Lang's on wet tires, because look at the confidence in this man. You can almost see it bursting out behind those RST leathers. Jim Lang is a man on a mission right now.
He's not shy at all, is he? It's actually putting a big smile on my face. Oh, look at that, straight past Bruce Burney there. And I tell you what, I am smiling because you couldn't wish this for a happier man. You know, Jim Lang, such a nice guy. He only started racing, like you say, last year in the club, and he would never think he'd be leading a Superbike race this early on. This is absolutely fantastic for him at the moment.
No, he'll be waiting for it all to go horribly wrong for him, or to waking up as Houston looks at having a look in towards the hairpin on Burney there. But Jim Lang, the long-haired loony, he's away at the front, and his BMW is looking nice. Burney has a big long look over his shoulder to see Houston, and the incoming Donald McFadden. Torko Patterson has just drifted off the back now. This would be a dream come true for Jim Lang. Can he hold this?
Have you seen how much he's pulled? 3 seconds in one lap on these guys. Jim Lang helped out by TPS World Tech Limited, so that's one of his sponsors there.
McFadden up the inside, sorry Den, and he does it. Good move there, and he was just showed Roy Houston a wheel, then decided to let off the brake and roll right into the view of Roy Houston. These guys looking extremely careful and gingerly as they go through the John Awu chicane up the back straight. Jim Lang is gone. Jim Lang, you sure that's not Joe Burns on that bike right now?
I'm not sure, but somebody on the pit lane wall needs to be waving at Jim Lang, telling him he's got a big lead and slow down, because this is absolutely fantastic to see him leading. But this battle for second place is phenomenal at the moment, and Torko Patterson is just in a watching space. But Donald McFadden up the inside of Bruce Burney.
Burney tries to let the brake off and roll over the front. Brave man Houston, can he get up the inside? Burney runs on the hop. Burney makes a mistake there. Roy Houston just about side swipes Bruce Burney, and they'll be liking this. But Torko Patterson is ever looming big orange there. Do not discount him, as Joe Burns is on the pit wall watching now.
Yeah, he's got his woolly hat on, his jacket there, watching this race, and I dare say he's smiling at this one as well.
It's a canny lad he is as they go through the top of St Curves. Houston and Burney getting very close. Houston looks like he almost thought about having a shot at Scotsman Corner there, but it is not to be. And Torko Patterson again with the famous Sol tyre helmet, the Ian Duffus replica in the back of this bunch. We have to remember he's in 5th place because Jim Lang has gone. Jim Lang has left the building, ladies and gentlemen, and he is on the way to a possible maiden, not only clubman win, but a Superbike win, because Jim Lang has stepped up this year and he is leading outright in this race.
Yeah, and it's 3 BMWs, all Motorrad's Central Supply bikes, I would imagine, that are leading the way. 1, 2 and 3, but this Roy Houston up the inside of Bruce Burney, and Torko Patterson is watching that horsepower as it's starting to dry out, probably be a little bit easier for him to use.
There goes Torx in the Saltair. Suzuki tries to follow that Kirkcaldy Kawasaki through. We're getting them all in here, aren't we? As Houston goes past McFadden and Burney on the straight. Now Houston into 2nd place. Now Roy the boy will be absolutely loving this as a tip into St Curves, and round the outside of Donald goes Torko Patterson. That was a brave move, fair play.
Yeah, that was a brave move, and to be fair, Donald McFadden, no slouch. We're seeing Donald fired up, but maybe it's these conditions. We don't know what tyres like you say they've got on at the moment, but just being cautious. Best to bring the bike home and throw it up the road, especially with how he's going to be doing in the championship after this one.
And of course, the one man we're missing in this is Andrew Tasker. We should say that Andrew had a big accident at Croft at the start here. Get well soon, buddy. We know you're up and about and on your feet, but Andrew Tasker would have been absolutely loving being in the middle of this.
Yeah, for sure. He'd been a guy fighting, especially in these conditions. As we switch back, looking at this, let's see if Torko Patterson got the inside of Bruce Burney in towards a hairpin.
Yeah, Torko thinking about it, makes a bit of a wiggle on the way in there. Burney runs a bit hot. Torko's alongside him. Burney's not going to give him it. Oh, Torko's giving it to Bruce so as they go up the main straight. Last lap flag this time round. Joe Burns suns himself on the pit wall. Jim Lang has gone.
To be fair, that was almost a written invitation from Bruce Burney. He left the door wide open, missed his apex. More than enough for him for Torko Patterson to slip up the inside.
Can Torko get 2nd place? Can Roy hold on to it? Roy looks like he runs a little bit hot sometimes into Scotsman Corner there, and he'll be hearing that big Suzuki growling away behind him right now as they go through the John Awu again. And Roy's quite good through there. Roy looked like he was pretty strong. Torko was looking like he was maybe holding back for a pop at him there. You can see the tracks dried out pretty well at Clark. But as they head towards the Ipin, Jim Lang will be going in towards the Ipin right now. But this is the battle. Here he comes, guys. This is history in the making, and he's on a wet tire. You can see it there, Dennis. Jim Lang heads up and takes his first ever victory as the melee arrives at the hairpin behind him of Houston, Patterson and Burney. But Jim Lang wins on the road on his BMW and looks absolutely delighted.
His mate Kevin Carmichael here as well, so that's who that wheelie's for.
Jim Lang from Roy Houston in second place, Torquil Patterson and Bruce Burney. Don McFadden settles for fifth with Alan Bryce, Mike Keith and Big Donkey Graham Duncan comes home in a well-deserved 8th place. Well, let's catch your breath and hand back down to Joe.
Jim, a Superbike winner, unbelievably. A few years ago it was just track days and things, and you just said to me as we were walking down there a couple of weeks ago, Torquil was lapping you, and there you absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, it's about a turnaround for 2 weeks ago. I was absolutely dreadful at East Fortune. I was sure when I went out before the race I was on the wrong tyres. I could see the track was bone dry in the main straight, and I was just about to change back to my road tyres. I'm glad I stuck with the wets. I'm shocked that they didn't faulty bits, just with the power of the BMW on the dry straight there. The tyres actually looked pretty fresh at the end of that. I lost the front at McIntyre's. That was the only moment I had in the race, and I just kept my head down and just leathered it, and I couldn't believe I was going by Torquil and Bruce, you know.
Did you know the gap that you had? Because you had an absolutely huge gap at one point.
Well, I didn't want to look back. I didn't want to look behind me just in case someone came screaming past. You see that on TV so often. No, I just kept my head down. I've got quite a quiet exhaust on that bike compared to a lot of the other machines, and normally you can hear a bike coming up beside you, but no, I had no idea the gap until the end of the race. I looked back and I thought there'd maybe been an accident, a crash or something, but no, there was nobody there, and I was just shaking my head in disbelief, to be honest, you know.
I wish I'd have put some money on that, because nobody could have predicted that.
I know, I could say it's a good performance, but
it was, absolutely. You won the race fair and square.
That's right. I think a lot of the fast guys there were maybe struggling with their road tyres in the corners. It was dry on the straight, but a lot of the corners were very wet, and I could see them sliding, you know, so I just took my chances while they were there.
Yeah. Roy, I didn't know if you maybe thought you'd won that, because Jim was so long gone, but you must have known he was away out front.
No, when Jim came past I was like, right, there's no way I was going to stick with him. He had just miles more pace than all 3 or 4 of us did in that race, so basically just let him go, like, right, on you go. And then further through the race there was a bit of rain came down, and that screwed us all up. Just mental rain, but it wasn't as well. You could see it on the track, so you kind of slowed down a bit, and then it all dried out again, so I picked up the pace. I don't know, Torquil tried to make a pass on the last lap going into hairpin, but I just let off the brakes a little bit, because obviously that was a Scottish Championship race, and he's ahead of me now, so I need all the points I can get.
But to be fair, it's a big step forward for you in the Kawasaki, because you were on the same tyre as the guys that you were battling with, the regulars at the front of the Scottish Championship. You were on the same tyre, so it was level, you would say, between you.
Yeah, it was a level playing field there. Everybody was in the same boat apart from but he left us. He was in a different league there.
So Jim Lang wins as he takes his trophy on the podium.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.